Where did the voyage with the Nagas start?
Well, it's a long way back that I remember, 1992, when I met General Mowu of the Naga National Council, one of the first organizations of the Nagas. And when he came back from Geneva together with Jacques, and Jacques introduced me to him, and he started talking, and like a matter of fact, he talked about atrocities. Incredible, I thought. And it hit me full in the face. Incredible in the way that he talked about it in such an ordinary manner, like not emotional anymore, just a matter of fact. And this made me wonder why nobody knew about that, and nobody could ever intervene in that. Later, when he returned to Nagaland again, after his visit in Geneva, where the indigenous peoples of this world met to find a way to get more, how can I say, pressure on the fact that they also existed. We met his successors, and that was T.H. Muivah and Isaac Swu, who were the men of the National Social Council of Nagalim. And they were the ones who fought against the Indian army directed by Nehru in 1956 to invade Nagaland. Nagaland, as they call it, the whole of Nagaland in Burma and in India. Nagalim, so as the NSCN named it because of the fact that they in 1963 made a province, a state in India called Nagaland, Nagaland state. So, more and more that I knew about it, and more that we thought this was impossible to pursue in order to get what I called always a post-colonial kind of accountability, is that at that time we thought, Jacques and I and others, to found a support group, Naga International Support Centre, NISC. This happened in 2001 in the presence of the Foreign Affairs of the Ministry of the Netherlands. We could, how can I say, put India at the stand to tell exactly what India did against the Nagas. So we did research how it happened that India just moved into Nagaland without any kind of jurisdiction behind it. And I say that because eventually I came to know that the British, who colonized part of the Naga nation, did not show any kind of paper to say that the Nagas had been transferred into India. So no land was given to the Indian government. The funny thing was then that the British later on did not intervene when they moved into Nagaland with 200,000 men and invaded in such a way that is incredible to describe. And it is what General Mowu at the time showed in words, vividly, but unattached, like a fact, a hard fact.
Mhm.
It's incredible. Hard, not heartwarming, but the opposite.
Yeah. So that was why you founded NISC, right?
Yes.
Can you talk about NISC? What is NISC?
Naga,
The acronym?
Naga International Support Centre. So we wanted to write and, well, make it public what happened in Nagaland. And the funny thing is that it is such an atrocious thing that happened that nobody could ever believe it, because you must understand that Nagaland was also within India hardly accessible. Nobody could get in, not even Indians could get in. Journalists, for that matter, also couldn't explain was happening there.
Yeah, there was the time of the RAP, right?
Yes, RAP is a remote area permit. Nobody could enter until much later in the N90s, when it became possible. But even then, nobody knew about it. And if people knew about it, I mean journalists, well, it is maybe too expensive or too dangerous to go there. Okay.
Why do you think it is the Naga case is a case of invasion? Can you tell a little bit more about?
Well, the Nagas in 1951 had the plebiscite to show, the outcome, to show the outcome of 99% something wanted to be free of India. India had nothing to do with it, essentially. Only the only thing it had to do with it was because it was both colonized by India, by the British. The British left, so India shouldn't have done anything with Nagaland.
Yeah.
But it did.
When I was in Nagaland, and when I talked to the Nagas, they explained to me. They literally said, "Well, you can see we are not like Indians. We don't resemble Indians. Maybe you can tell a little bit more why Nagas are not keen on being under the umbrella of the Indian Union."
Well, it's really like this. They had nothing to do with India. Not in the remote past, not in the long past. It's incredible that India thought it should be part of India, really. The culture is completely different. That's one.
Yeah.
And secondly, how can I really... Well, they have never been conquered.
Yeah. Tell more about the culture is completely opposite.
The culture is... Religion is different, language is different, culture is different, everything is different.
Yeah. The way they govern themselves is different.
The way they govern themselves is what they call a village-state democracy. The village is the unit in which the ones who rule are the people themselves. They appoint people, they elect people, and these are the ones who have jurisdiction over the village, nothing else, but full over the village.
Is it fair to say that India is ruled top-down and Naga village state democracy is bottom-up?
You could say that, yeah, because top-down in this sense means that one is elected and rules over represents everybody in their jurisdiction. In the village state democracy, it is all who are elected or appointed who have jurisdiction over the village, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So, stop je nu?
Nee, ik wil de volgende vraag lezen. So, why do you think India and Burma should exit Nagaland Naga homeland immediately?
Well, it is very simple, but it's effectively very complex. The simple thing is that it doesn't belong to India, it doesn't belong to Burma. At the time Burma, now Myanmar. But since the two countries think, or seem to be sure that it belongs to them, then of course they fight for it. Well, fight for it. They have 200. I mean, India has 200,000 people, soldiers in Nagaland, even now. And Burma wanted to send military men in the form of monks to make Nagas to become Buddhists. But Nagas have become Christians, ardent Christians. It's not that they are against Buddhism, nor are they against Hinduism or against Indians, but they don't want to belong to it. They don't want to. Nagas are in essence quite, well, how can I say, friendly people. So that's the easy way of explaining it. The complex way of explaining it is that there's military there. I mean, it's something like if I walk into your house and say from now on this house is mine, and I don't move out anymore, that means that I have occupied your house. So it's a matter of occupation of the Naga nation. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, I know they have the ASFA.
ATFA?
ASFA, the Armed Forces.
Oh, AFSPA.
Yeah.
You mean the Armed Forces Special Powers Act?
Yeah. Talk about it.
Armed Forces Special Powers Act is an act from 1956 onwards, almost the beginning of the war. Let's not forget that there's a war going on there, and the Nagas defending themselves. AFSPA means that the military can do anything without being held accountable. And it means they can walk into your house, search everything, put you in prison for whatever they do, whatever they charge you with, and many other things. They even can torture you and kill you. And it happened. So the threats are always there. You never know when anything happens. They always don't. They don't explain to you also.
Yeah, I talk to people that say this creates like a post-traumatic stress syndrome on a permanent level. Like I also happen to know that young Naga people study abroad, and once they go back to Nagaland, they can never leave after that, because India is afraid that they have ties to foreign countries and might expose what India did in the past or is still doing. Maybe what is your view on that?
Well, even now people are restricted. Many who are in the resistance cannot leave the country at all. Don't get a passport or are prohibited.
Yeah. Maybe you can give an example, like Nangulu.
Nangulu, I don't know about him personally. I mean, with respect to that, I know that at one time someone from the National Socialist Council of Nagalim was going to visit me in Geneva, and I was waiting for him. But at the last moment in the airport, he was being obstructed. He was held back, couldn't leave. That happened.
Yeah. I also know that you very much want to go to Nagaland to visit people in Nagaland, but you're not allowed to.
Well, They never say I'm not allowed. I applied for a visa to go to India, and because they say that that Nagaland belongs to India, I should be able to go to Nagaland as well. But because I traveled to India before, and when I applied for a visa again, I was told that the application is in the hands of the Home Ministry from now on. And when the Home Ministry says yes, you can go, then we can issue a visa. I'm still waiting. This is about 10 years ago.
So, who should be held accountable for this situation?
Yeah, I think it is rather simple, because it's also neglected. The reason why, I don't understand. Because Nagas are also people of the international community. The international community should intervene. In the first place, accountable are two nations. First of all, Great Britain, now the UK, is accountable because the post-colonial accountability has not been recognized by them. They just left. They didn't provide a meaning for Nagas to be able to form their own nation. They only provided a crown colony idea, but the Nagas turned it down because a crown colony means they're still under the British, kind of. So after that, when they left, nothing was heard of them anymore. And in that void, India moved in, and later on invaded even. It moved in by saying that Nagaland belonged to India. The 9-point agreement, for instance, in 1947, just before Nagaland declared independence, a day before India did, what happened then was that in that clause of the 9-point agreement, it was stated that after 10 years being in India, Nagas could decide for themselves whether to remain in India or to go to the what do you call that now? Or go for independence, be a sovereign nation. Now, that was turned down by the Lok Sabha, that is the Parliament of India at the time. So it never happened. That is the reason why in 1951 the referendum or
plebiscite.
Huh?
The plebiscite.
Plebiscite, yeah, referendum or plebiscite was held by the NNC, Naga National Council, to show that eventually the outcome said that probably all Nagas wanted to be in their own nation, independent. That's it. And that after that, in 1954, 56, the war started. Because the first Prime Minister, Nehru, was angry with the Nagas because he divided the Nagalands between Burma and India. So between, it was agreed between UNU and Nehru. But the Nagas wanted to talk with Nehru because it was their land. But Nehru turned them down, and when he wanted to make a speech on the grounds in the capital of Nagaland, Kohima, what happened was that they walked out of him. That hurt Nehru, and he shouted, well not shouted maybe, but he stated later on, if heaven falls and the river turns turns red with blood, I will never let our Nagas go. That's it. And that is later on the war started, when he sent many military. Until now, the war is going on. Well, ceasefire, but still backtracking all the time, betraying the Nagas. And this should be known. It should be known in the international community, not only for the Nagas, but also as an example how peace should be evaluated and war should be evaluated. Who is right, who is wrong.